Rachel Holt for NESN.com here with Matt Miller, Bleacher Report draft expert. Matt, thanks for being here.
Yeah, you bet.
Now, this is a very busy time for you. So we appreciate your time. We've had a lot going on in the college football world, the Super Bowl with the NFL draft now upcoming. What's this time like for you?
Yeah, it's crazy, like you said, because we're at the Super Bowl and everybody's talking about the Falcons, the Patriots, but they're the other fan bases, and all they want to talk about is the draft. So this is really the kickoff for that time of year. Last week was the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Week before that was the Shrine Game down at St. Pete, Florida. So while everyone is kind of focused on the Super Bowl, this is also really when draft season ramps up right now.
Okay, as a scout, you don't always get to see these guys in person. Of course, based on their roles, based on their positions, you're looking for different things. But when you do see them in person, what's the number one thing you're looking at?
I think you just look for athleticism. It's weird because there's so much that goes into scouting. You're looking at technique and fundamentals and you know tracking stats, but oftentimes it just comes down to athleticism. So that's always the first thing I look for when I watch a player in person is just looking for who moves the easiest. You know, who flexibility, speed. Oddly enough, things like how long are their arms, how long are their legs. So those are all the things that when you go to a game, especially like the Senior Bowl, you get to see 100 players out on the field. You really start to focus in on just those basic athletic traits.
Of course, people are looking at the bowl games and big games like that to see players. This year, a little bit of a shakeup in the college football world. We had star players like Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette sitting out their bowl games and getting ready for the draft. So what are the negative effects of that, if there are any?
I don't think there will be for those guys because they're such big name players and they did have some legitimate injury concerns, but we'll see if that becomes more of a trend where first round players don't participate in the bowl game. Everyone remembers Notre Dame linebacker Jalen Smith in the Fiesta Bowl gets that gruesome leg injury, and now for a while there his career was in question. So I think it'll be interesting to see if we have other players who opt not to play, especially if they're not in a national championship situation. Obviously this year, Alabama and Clemson made for such a great game. Maybe there will be more pressure for kids to get out on the field, but with Fournette and McCaffrey, two of the better known players in college football. So now we're gonna have to watch next year and see if someone like Josh Rosen from UCLA, if he decides to sit out a bowl game, if they're not into a playoff situation, because he's another one of those high caliber players that can make this a trend. And for me, I think it's great to see players making kind of decisions that impact their career, because it's really, when you're in college, you don't get to make those decisions about what you want to do as a professional. So now these guys are making a pro decision for probably the first time.
Okay, you've been following these guys. You've obviously been very busy. In this upcoming draft, who do you see going number one overall?
Yeah, I think Myles Garrett from Texas A&M will be that guy. I mean, he's hasn't had a ton of publicity yet because he was an underclassman, but just a freak athlete. As a pass rusher for Texas A&M, was able to do great things against teams like Alabama, against UCLA, and showing what he could do against pro caliber offensive linemen. So the Browns need a quarterback. Everybody knows that, but Myles Garrett is too good to pass up at number one.
A guy who is not chosen number one. His name is Tom Brady. I think we've
Yeah.
heard about this guy. Picked 199th in the 6th round in the 2000 draft. Do you ever see a guy like that slipping through the cracks again?
You always say no, but then, Dak Prescott slipped through the cracks last year. So I think it takes a perfect storm. Brady fell through the cracks and then ends up in a great situation with a head coach who's perfect for him. And they've really done a great job of building a team around Tom. So, to say that I think Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time. So another guy of that caliber going 6th round is hard to imagine. Someone who has his work ethic and football IQ and then the athletic ability that he has, I think it's just a kind of a once in a lifetime story.
When these teams are in the Super Bowl, the Patriots and the Falcons, you think they're doing pretty well, obviously, but they are looking at the draft. What holes do you think the Patriots need to fill in the upcoming draft?
Well, I think, you lose free agents. Obviously every year now you have to replace Jamie Collins and Chandler Jones as well. So I would say you look at that front seven on defense, getting younger at the pass rusher position. Jamal Sheard's going to be a free agent. Getting more linebackers who could cover and play in space would be the two areas that I would look at them trying to go. I know everyone always thinks wide receiver or running back, but Belichick really hasn't prioritized those positions through the draft. So I think front seven on defense, it makes the most sense for them.
Matt, you've been giving us some good stuff. Where can we find you? Where can we follow you on Twitter?
Yeah, follow on Twitter at NFL Draft Scout, and then just download that Team Stream app for Bleacher Report, and you'll get all my content right there.